So excited to have Jamie McLaughlin. You can see that we look a lot. We look kind of alike, right?
From here up.
Yeah,
mainly,
right. Yeah. So you don't know this, but you've never met our chief marketing officer, who's off camera right now. And we were waiting for Jamie, and he's like, "Well, what does he look like?" I said, "He's the exact opposite of me. Tall, handsome, full head of hair, great accent, pretty pale."
Very,
pale,
very.
right?
That's my Northern European
So that's how we
upbringing.
found you. But all kidding aside, just for those of you who don't know, we've known each other least
Probably
more than
nearly
10 years.
Yeah, up to 10 years, around about that, yeah.
And Jamie also knows that, and any recruiters listening to this, I apologize in advance. I really don't like recruiters. Jamie's the only recruiter that I like who's actually really, really good and a good guy.
I'm pretty sure when I first called you or emailed you or bumped into you, that's the first thing you said was, "I don't like recruiters.
Is it?
This is going to be a tough sell for you." Yeah. But I like that challenge. That always, because I hear that a lot, to be honest, because there's, like a lot of industries, there's some good and bad. So it's not the first time I've heard that. But I like that challenge to sort of reverse perceptions. If it's not of the industry, it's of me, I guess.
So what makes for a good recruiter then?
I think listening. I think that's a very important tool to have.
Sorry, what?
Pardon?
Dad joke.
I think when recruiters often you want to be on the front foot. You want to make a bang. You want people to to remember you. So I think a lot of people, they talk a lot, and that's when you meet people or in meetings as well. So I think listening, really getting an understanding of an individual or your client needs, and then getting that information and then distilling it and making it, whether that's offering someone the perfect role or finding that client that perfect candidate. So I think listening and empathy as well. I think recruitment, again, can have a bad reputation, but what we do in terms of finding people jobs is some of the most significant things in your life, in your career. So it's a very important step for a lot of people, whether it's at the beginning of the career, middle, or end. So it's certainly a lot of empathy and, again, understanding of people, getting to know people, getting to know how businesses work. I think all of those things are very, very important.
So when things don't go well after a placement, which
Yes.
I know never happens, but
Never
it does
happens.
happen on
Yeah.
occasion, right? Where do you attribute the majority of the fails? Is it because of competency gaps or chemistry gaps?
Yeah,
And I know that there's other issues,
Yeah.
but on that continuum.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time when if you're interviewing someone or you're being interviewed, you will tell that person what they want to hear, and you might ignore some of those amber flags that you've seen through the process.
Kind of like dating.
Yeah, it's cheesy analysis,
Yeah.
but it's very, very
Sorry,
true.
yeah.
No, I use that.
We
use
did
it all
not
the
plan
time.
this beforehand. In fact, this is unscripted. There's no paper in
You
front
can
of
probably
us.
tell it's unscripted.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of that, because I love Aaron. I think he's a great guy. No, I'm just using that as an example. I love Aaron. I think he's a great guy. He's charismatic. We're both triathletes, etc., etc., etc. But so I ignore those yellow flags that we saw during the process. I think another thing that can happen, which is probably more on the competency side of things, is that jobs change and roles change, and what you thought you needed can alter. A new CEO comes in if you're the CMO or the CCO somewhere, or if you're at an agency, you win a new client, or the agency pivots to data analytics away from more the traditional corporate reputation work or something like that. So I think sometimes those fundamental gaps. I don't actually think it's a chemistry thing often, because CMOs and CCOs, people in our world, marketing, advertising, creative comms, tend to be charismatic, amiable people that can get on with people. So it's not always a chemistry fit. It can be, but it's usually around competency and also just the changing nature of what we do in marketing.
Yeah, the goalposts could change,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and it
Could have
happens.
new investors, all sorts of
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
I think that's fair. Do you? And of course, you also have to recruit for recruiters.
Yes,
Which
yeah,
I think actually is probably the hardest part of your job. And I have to say,
Yeah.
and then I'll stop with the love fest. I do think you have a great team.
Yeah.
Shout out to Carly Mednick, only because I met Carly when we both are on the board of PRSA New York.
Yes.
And for someone so young, she's incredibly talented, like wise beyond her years.
Scary,
It
yeah.
is scary. But I actually think, like in any organization, agency, any role, the team is bigger than you. Right?
Yeah.
So how are you actually recruiting for recruiters?
Yeah. badly sometimes. It can.
I haven't met them. You keep them away.
What's different about our world is, if Aaron's recruiting a marketer or communicator, he's surrounded by these people now. His clients are communicators, his alumni are communicators. I don't hang around with recruiters ever, not deliberately necessarily, but again, they're not all great people. But it's because the events I go to are Cannes Lion. They are, there's possible in Miami, there's CES, there's Super Bowl, there's all these events that we all go to. Rarely see recruiters. The boards that I sit on are marketing boards, they're education boards, they're not recruitment boards, so we don't surround ourselves with those people. So it can be tough to find them. We actually just hired someone today, actually. She signed on the dotted line, but Carly did all of that because she's really good at spotting those kind of people.
I've actually never seen a dotted line
really?
to sign on. No, I know the expression is a sign on the dotted line, but
it's true, it is a straight line.
They're never dotted. They're straight. Yeah.
So
if it was dotted, I would actually be suspicious.
I'm going to change my terms now to make them dotted.
It's an old adage.
But there are actually, and this is the toughest job on the planet. I don't care what anyone says. They're called recruiter to recruiter or rec to recs. They find recruitment businesses recruiters, and they also find talent organizations.
That's very meta. I didn't know that. That's a thing.
Can you imagine having to work with people that know exactly what you're doing, the levers that you're pushing, the buttons that you're pressing,
I do.
The tricks that you're
terrible.
using? Yeah, so
for them.
So I can't imagine. It's the toughest job. I have a lot of respect for the guys that do that. So we, like most businesses, we will go to market if we're looking for someone. If we can't find them themselves, then we turn to them as well. But tough job, really tough. Yeah.
How important is it, not just in your business, but in general, to be out and about and show up, especially post-COVID? Because I think you and I have a very similar philosophy. I think, there's always a commercial gain, but we're quite altruistic with our time. We serve on the board of IPR together. We're both part of Page. We see each other. Actually, we see each other at events versus structured meetups, right? Which is lovely. And how important is that? Because you can just be linear and just do your job day in, day out, but to be able to give back, don't you find that, one, you're learning, but also there's commercial advantage?
Of course, yeah. 80 to 90% of my clients come from networking events. There's absolutely no doubt about that. If I cold email someone, I might get lucky. If I cold call someone, I might get lucky. But nothing's more powerful than running into someone at Sports Beach, getting introduced by Aaron or Ryan Linder, Jamie's top recruiter.
I think we met at a PR Week event.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I didn't think you were real. I didn't think your hair was real. Actually,
maybe
it's the best toupee I've ever seen.
So there's nothing more powerful than that as well. And I think that's more so in the US, where I've actually had a better career than in the UK, where I really feel Americans put a lot of value on personal relationships, and they put a lot of trust when they meet people as well. So for me going to events, whilst they're a lot of fun, no denying that seeing Diplo and D-Nice last night wasn't a lot of fun, but just went to a round.
You missed Cardi B?
I missed Cardi B, but I heard she was. I heard a lot of people had a lot of fun. So no, I put so much emphasis on that, and that's it's a big expense flying from the US to France, but
and from LA,
especially from LA, and a lot of time out. But it's invaluable how important these are. Plus you learn. And you have a good time while you're at it as well. So no, it's so essential to come to these. I don't want to tip any other recruiters off, but it shocks me how few recruiters I run into when I'm here. Some events a bit more, but certainly Cannes is everyone I meet is a potential client or a potential candidate. So even the ad tech people. So it's fantastic to be at these things as well.
So how are you feeling about you get this question all the time. And I always wonder, every year is different than a previous year, but how is the employment market right now? What are you seeing? What are you feeling? Are you going to mention the T word? I don't mean Trump, I mean tariffs.
Yeah, well,
I guess one and the same. But,
well, yes, exactly. Yeah. So it's been, I did a LinkedIn piece about this last week. It's been, the last 5 years have been an extraordinary, oh, thank you. It's been an extraordinary time for the job market. We've had recessions, we've had pandemics, we've had remote work, return to office, we've had tariffs and the headwinds that the economy
all
has.
All the holdcos are kind of not doing great.
We've got mergers and acquisitions, unbelievably large. putting even more importance on marketing, particularly around that sort of data insights sort of thing. So market's been crazy. If you asked me 2 months ago how it was, I'd have given you a very different answer. But as we speak today, we're extraordinarily busy. Not in a lot of more on the service-based industries that we're working on at the moment. Financial services, technology, professional services, a little bit of healthcare. But if you're in the CPG market, for example, a lot of our brand clients are scaling back. It does actually feel like agencies are having a bit of a moment now as well. Last year, there wasn't a lot of recruitment with agencies, but this quarter, Q2, we've seen a lot of agency work coming back as well, which is always a great barometer. And we do a lot of work with agencies as well, but it's always a great barometer because if you're hiring, that means you're winning business as well. So it's a tough market. We were in DC in April at the Chamber of Commerce, and someone came down to speak to us about tariffs. And then when he finished, he basically said, and that's all true as of 4:45 on Tuesday, April 7th, because tomorrow it will be completely out of date. And I think it was because China, something happened. We rolled back China tariffs and then we put them back, and et cetera, et cetera. So it is it depends what time of day you're asking me, but as we speak, very, very busy. And it's a mixture of brand stuff and a lot of agency stuff as well.
And final question. It seems like a super cliche question, but given the proliferation of not just AI, but tech and data, I know something about that as well. What are the new skills that your clients are looking for in prospects, and also how are you screening for that? Because that's a different type of screening.
Yeah.
Tell me about the case study or show me work you did. This is a little bit more technical. Yeah.
Well, I think, the market went very, very specific over the last couple of years. And whether that's around data and analytics or strategy or similar. But I have seen, because of there's so many competing interests in the industry and in marketing, whether that's from technology, the ad tech guys, the martech guys, whether that's from reputation risk, whether that's straight marketing, digital. There's almost that sort of generalist has come back into play as well, which is a bit of an on the fence answer, I guess. But
I prefer multi-specialist.
Multi-specialist.
Yeah.
That's much better.
I'm in PR.
Actually. You should do that professionally. So yes, we've actually seen people who have that broad understanding of how the world works, and then also factoring in culture and entertainment and sports, which is again what Stagwell are doing here. That intersection. There's not many out there, but people that understand all of that and can sell, because let's not forget we're all here to sell. Are making a very, very important. And on that as well, a lot of the searches that we're doing at the moment, people want someone who's this is the last time I'll do this, but Aaron's a great example of this. Someone who is not only intelligent and technically sound,
available,
but also can sell and talk to clients and reassure clients and guide clients as well. So people who have that left brain, right brain thinking are very, very popular at the moment, because obviously sometimes you've got those deeply charismatic people who can sell, but they don't get the data side of it. Other times you've got these people who are AI wizards, but they struggle to make eye contact with people and talking. So that combination of technical knowledge and sales are very, very popular at the moment.
I learned this new term yesterday when I was moderating a panel. A guy from Lenovo called himself a pie marketer, which is the whole left brain, right?
Oh, right.
I thought that was quite.
We'll steal that as well.
Yeah. Actually, I lied. I've got one more question for you, which is a fun one. I wanted to start my panel yesterday, but I didn't. I already had enough faux pas, right? But you didn't know I spoke French, huh?
Oh, on peut.
I wanted to tell the audience, every time somebody on this panel says storytelling or authentic, boo the shit out of them, right? So what are the words you don't want to hear, and you just and you have the same kind of vitriolic reaction to it?
Yeah, people person. That's one that comes up all the time.
Yeah.
So that one, that sort of bothers me, because what does that actually mean? And also, I'll be the judge of that.
Yeah.
It
I mean, I'm a dog person, but that doesn't mean I'm not a people person.
That's definitely the one that pops up. I mean, and of course, AI is one. I do agree with you on the storytelling, but I think that's storytelling. It's not just our industry. You've got filmmakers say it, entertainers. That seems to be
people put it in their LinkedIn. I'm a storyteller.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, really?
But
Tell me a story.
People person is an interesting.
Remember that
one.
Breakfast Club? Remember Breakfast Club?
Yes.
Tell me a story. Fuck you. That's my favorite. And we're gonna end on that.
Great way to end.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for having me.